Hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss about most important topic, that is nitrogen metabolism. So this topic is very important for the CSI Net Life Sciences, IIT JAM Biotechnology, GATE Life Sciences as well as GATE Biotechnology also. So friends, why this topic is very important? The reason, the question is used to ask most oftenly. And friends, what kind of questions we can expect from this particular topic? See, we can expect the questions in different ways. We can expect the questions from the processes. I will explain you in the insight and in the upcoming slides. And we will get the questions about genes involved in this particular nitrogen metabolism. We can expect the questions, most importantly the enzymes involved in this particular nitrogen metabolism. Friends, we can also expect the question, most importantly the type of bacteria involved. Okay, so there are different type of questions we can expect in this particular nitrogen metabolism. Okay, let's start. First of all, so friends, what is nitrogen cycle? Everyone listen to me very carefully. We all know nitrogen is the most important inorganic compound which is required for the growth and development of every organism. So let me ask you a question. Do you think can can we survive without nitrogen? Is it possible? No. None of the living organism like a plant or animal cannot survive without nitrogen. What is the reason? Friends, listen to me very carefully, because nitrogen is extremely important for the synthesis of protein. Nitrogen is extremely important for the synthesis of amino acid. Nitrogen is extremely important for the production of nucleic acid, nothing but our DNA and RNA. Then imagine how much important the nitrogen is. But friends, there is a disadvantage. What is the disadvantage? Listen to me carefully. We eukaryotic organisms like plant and animal, we cannot take this particular nitrogen directly. Listen to me very carefully. Why we cannot take the nitrogen directly, friends? Because whatever the nitrogen that is present in the atmosphere, it is chemically inert. More specifically, it is in N triple bond N form. It's a chemically inert or in N triple bond N. But do you think organisms like plants and animals can they break this particular N triple bond N? No. Why? What is the reason? Because we animals as well as plants do not have an important enzyme which we call it as a nitrogenase enzyme. That is the major reason we cannot fix the nitrogen. But what is the point I have told to you? We can't survive without nitrogen, but we can't fix the nitrogen into simple forms. Who can fix the simple forms? Who can fix the nitrogen into a most simple form? If someone fixes into a simple forms like nitrate, nitrite, NH3, NH4, then we can utilize easily. But unfortunately we cannot fix it. Then who is going to fix it? Bacteria. Bacteria can fix the atmospheric or inert nitrogen into most simple forms like NO2, NO3, NH3, NH4 plus into different forms. Then we can utilize. So friends, who will fix the nitrogen first? Bacteria will fix. Then where they will fix? In the soil. From the soil who will take? Plant will take. Then upon eating the plants, who will get? Animal will get. So now plant benefited, animal benefited, microorganism is also benefited. Once again we have to send back the nitrogen to the atmosphere. Why? Because we have taken the nitrogen from the atmosphere only. So my friends, what is the common point you can understand here? You can understand one common point. This nitrogen is circularizing. So listen to me. The cyclic movement. What, friends? The cyclic movement of the nitrogen from one tropic level to the another tropic level through different tropic levels. That is what do we call the nitrogen cycle. The cyclic movement of the nitrogen through different tropic levels, which we called a nitrogen cycle. So friends, what are the various steps we are going to read in the nitrogen cycle? As I told you, right, we can expect the question directly from the processes. Now my friends, every one of you listen, what kind of question we can expect? Listen to me carefully. These are all the various steps involved in the nitrogen cycle. Nitrogen fixation, you can expect the question in the form of equation. So what is this nitrogen fixation? As we all know that later we will discuss about the microorganisms involved. N2 giving rise to what? NH3 or NH4 plus. Next, every step we will understand very briefly and elaboratively. What is nitrification? Some students will get confused here. So nitrification means, friends, conversion of NH3 or NH4 into NO2 also, at the same time, friends, into NO3 also. Now you can ask me, so then how this entire process will be same? But the point is here, the bacteria which is involved in the NO2 fixation, the bacteria which is involved in the NO3 fixation are entirely different. Please kindly do not forget that particular point at all. Next one, assimilation. This is the most important, my friends. Why we are fixing the nitrogen into simple form? What is the goal? Our ultimate goal, of fixing the nitrogen into most simple form, to utilize, to incorporate, right, to assimilate in our body to produce proteins, amino acids, nucleic acid. So what you can say, assimilation means NO2, NO3, they are all assimilated in the body and we are going to convert into proteins, amino acids, then friends, followed by the nucleic acids. Next, now plant benefited, animal benefited, microorganism benefited. What is denitrification? Sending the atmospheric sending this particular nitrate back to the atmospheric nitrogen. Why, friends? Because we have taken the nitrogen from the atmosphere only, then we have to send back to the atmosphere, then only we can call it as a cycle. So sending back nitrate to the atmospheric nitrogen. This is what do we call denitrification. This NMOX process we will understand in the upcoming slides elaboratively. Nitrogen fixation, nitrification, assimilation and denitrification. I want every one of you focus on this particular slide. Pay attention, friends. This is what? Atmospheric nitrogen. What is happening, my friends? This atmospheric nitrogen, first of all, N2 can be fixed in the soil into NH3 or NH4. What do we call this particular process? I will explain the bacteria later. Listen, we called nitrogen fixation. Friends, I will explain every small step briefly, elaboratively. Just pay attention. First, we are fixing the atmospheric nitrogen into NH3 or NH4. This process, what do we call? Nitrogen fixation. Friends, who is doing this particular nitrogen fixation? That's the important point. This can be done by nitrogen fixing bacteria. Examples we will read in the upcoming slide, because we can't fix. Plants cannot fix because we do not have nitrogenase enzyme. That's why only bacteria can fix this. Later, what is the unique point I want you people to understand here? Once again, everyone listen. This NH3 or NH4 can be converted into NO2 as well as NO3. I told you, no friends, conversion of NH3, NH4 to NO2 and NO3, both what do we call? Nitrification only, don't get confused. But the type of microorganisms or the type of bacteria involved is entirely different. Now once again listen, why I have converted N2 to NH3 NH4, why I have converted NH3 NH4 into NO2 NO3. What is my ultimate goal? My ultimate goal is assimilation. So I have to incorporate this into the soil. I have to incorporate it into my body. So first, we animals can't take the nitrogen directly. First, who will assimilate this NO2 and NO3? NO2 and NO3 is assimilated by plant. Now upon eating the plant, who will get? Animals will get. Now the plants and animals start producing proteins, amino acids and nucleic acid. Now friends, now you try to understand what happens when the plant and animal died. The death of, after the death of plant and animals, the dead organic matter, listen to me carefully, the dead organic matter is decomposed by the decomposers. Now what the decomposers will do, like saprophytes and certain bacteria, they will break down the organic into inorganic. Organic nothing but what? Protein, amino acid, nucleic acid, lipids, all those. Now that can be broken down into inorganic, nothing but carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen. Now what the decomposers will take? They will take the nitrogen. They will use the nitrogen for their growth, their development. And what they are going to do with the excess nitrogen? Friends, they are going to fix the excess nitrogen in the form of ammonium in the soil. What do we call that particular process? We call it as ammonification. So my friends, now you can understand one common point. Plant benefited, animal benefited, even decomposers are also benefited. But from where we have taken the nitrogen? We have taken the nitrogen from the atmosphere. So my friends, we have to send our nitrogen back to the atmosphere. By that, the nitrogen cycle will be completed. So friends, this particular NO3 or nitrates can be sent back to the atmosphere, sent back to the atmosphere in the form of nitrogen, which completes the nitrogen cycle. And this process, what do we call? We called denitrification. And friends, whatever the bacteria that is involved in this particular denitrification, what do we call them as? We call it them as a denitrifying bacteria. Please kindly do not forget that particular statement. Now we have to read nitrogen fixation, nitrification, assimilation, ammonification, denitrification. Now let's start one by one, briefly and elaboratively. Let's start with the first step, that is the nitrogen fixation. So friends, we can fix the nitrogen in many different ways. Many ways we can fix the nitrogen. Is it? See, atmospheric nitrogen can be fixed by natural lightning. See friends, natural lightning also can fix the nitrogen in a very low concentration, that is 5 to 8%, that's all. And we read in the +2 level also, industrial nitrogen fixation. I hope every one of you remember friends, by Haber's process. This is not what we have to read friends. We have to understand the fixation of the nitrogen by bacteria. So what we have to read? We have to read completely about the bacterial nitrogen fixation. Why we have to talk about only bacterial nitrogen fixation? Because we eukaryotic like animals and plants cannot fix it. And why only bacteria can fix? Bacteria having an important enzyme. What is that enzyme friends? We called as nitrogenase enzyme. Please kindly do not forget this particular statement at all. What enzyme it consists of? It consists of a nitrogenase enzyme. Now, so let's talk what are the various type of bacteria are involved in the fixing of nitrogen. Friends, there are two type of bacteria are involved in the nitrogen fixation. What are those? One we called symbiotic nitrogen fixing bacteria, free living nitrogen fixing bacteria. My friends, every one of us commonly know that. What is a symbiotic relationship? It's a type of mutualism. Friends, what is mutualism? Mutualism is a type of relationship where both organisms are going to get benefited. Yes or no? Yes. That is what exactly called mutualism. So the bacteria which are involved in the mutualistic relationship, they are involved in the nitrogen fixation. Not only symbiotic nitrogen fixing bacteria, friends, even free living bacteria also. What is the speciality of a free living bacteria? As we all commonly know that friends, they do not require, what they do not require? They do not require any mutualistic relationship. They do not require support of any other organism for their growth and development. They can grow on their own, they can develop on their own, but friends, still they are having the ability or capability. What friends? Still they are having the ability or capability to fix the nitrogen. That is why we call it them as a free living bacteria. Please kindly do not forget this particular point at all. Now you only look into this. See, symbiotic nitrogen fixation is a mutualistic relationship in which plant provide a niche and fixed carbon to bacteria in exchange for fixed nitrogen. Simple way, bacteria giving nitrogen to the plant, plant is giving carbon to the bacteria, so both are going to get benefited. That's why we called symbiotic nitrogen fixation. And my friends, it's my sincere request, I want you people to remember the examples without fail: Rhizobium meliloti, Rhizobium trifoli, and Rhizobium leguminosarum. Anyway, in the upcoming slides, I have kept one particular table. I want every one of you read and remember the examples which are present in that particular table expressly. And what I have said you about the non-symbiotic nitrogen fixation or a free living, they cannot depend on anyone for their growth and development, because they can live aerobically also, they can live anaerobically also. That's an important point, do not forget that particular point at all. So, and what are the best example? Azotobacter species, Bezeranschia, Dirkschia, which was asked in the exam. Anyway, the examples I kept in the upcoming slide, and Granulobacter. Now, so friends, we are talking about the first process only, that is nitrogen fixation. As I told you, right, it's a biggest process among all. Other processes are little less and little easy to understand. This is a broad concept, try to focus. You know what is the advantage and disadvantage with the nitrogen metabolism topic? The topic is very small, but the disadvantage is information is very much. Now friends, every one of you listen. In this particular slide, I have told to all of you one important word. What is that important word? I have told to you that nitrogenase enzyme is a most important enzyme which is involved in the nitrogen fixation. But what is the disadvantage with this enzyme? This enzyme, if it wants to be active, the condition should be anaerobic only. The condition should be what, my friends? Anaerobic only. Please kindly don't forget. Means if there is a, understand what I am talking. If there is a presence of oxygen, this enzyme is going to get inactivated immediately. Now you have to understand what I am talking. Now whatever the bacteria that is involved, once again listen to me, whatever the bacteria that is involved in the nitrogen fixation, it has to maintain anaerobic conditions compulsory. If they don't maintain the anaerobic conditions, what is going to happen, friends? If they don't maintain the anaerobic condition, nitrogenase enzyme will become inactive, bacteria cannot fix the nitrogen. So that's why they keep on maintaining the nitrogen anaerobic condition while fixing the nitrogen. What is that anaerobic condition? Friends, one of the anaerobic condition followed by the bacteria is heterocyst. Now you can ask me, sir, what happens if they maintain this particular heterocyst mechanism? I want every one of you understand very clearly here. The speciality of heterocyst is what? It is having a very thick cell wall. First and unique point, thick cell wall. My friends, when the cell wall is very thick, do you think oxygen can diffuse, my friends? No way. Oxygen cannot diffuse. What, my friends? Oxygen cannot diffuse at all. Keep it in your mind. Then another very important and unique point, the heterocyst is lack of photosystem 2. Friends, everyone has to understand what happens when there is a lack of PS2. My friends, photolysis of water cannot takes place. If photolysis of water cannot takes place, oxygen cannot be released. Yes or no? Then heterocyst can maintain what kind of a conditions, friends? Heterocyst can easily maintain anaerobic condition. Please kindly do not forget this particular point under any circumstances. So one of the best anaerobic condition maintained by the cyanobacteria or a blue-green algae. What is this, friends? Which we call it as a heterocyst. Certain other, now let me tell you one very interesting point to all of you. What is that? Suppose example, you take aerobic bacteria. Understand what I am talking to you, what I am saying exactly here. There is a bacteria called aerobic. What do you mean by this aerobic bacteria? If the bacteria wants to survive, it compulsory require oxygen for their growth and development. But if this particular aerobic bacteria wants to fix the nitrogen, it should require anaerobic condition. Yes or no? My friends, that time what happens? Let me tell you a good point here. The aerobic bacteria, friends, they increase. What they increase? They increase the cellular respiration level. Friends, when they increase the cellular respiration levels, actually what happened? Most amount of the nitrogen will be consumed. Yes or no? I'm so sorry. When they increase the cellular respiration level, most amount of the oxygen will be consumed, because for the cellular respiration we compulsory require the oxygen. So aerobic bacteria increase their cellular respiration. By that, most amount of the oxygen will be consumed. With less amount of oxygen, they can survive, they grow, they develop, and when the oxygen conditions are extremely lower, then only they start fixing the nitrogen. Please keep that in your mind. Then what about the anaerobic bacteria? Anaerobic bacteria, there is a no problem at all, right? Why, friends? Why there is a no problem with the anaerobic bacteria? Because anaerobic bacteria, actually they do not require oxygen only. So what is our ultimate goal? Our ultimate goal also is to maintain the anaerobic conditions only. Then anaerobic bacteria can fix the nitrogen very easily. So like this, understand everyone, like this is the structure of heterocyst. Like this, the bacteria starts maintaining anaerobic conditions in order to fix the nitrogen and make the nitrogenase enzyme to become active. Please kindly do not forget this particular point. Now, friends, in this particular nitrogen fixation, what is the name of the gene that is involved here? Friends, this is a very important concept. You have to know it. What I am saying, what are the two type of genes that are involved here, and what is symbiotic relationship? Everyone listen my words carefully. I already told you that symbiotic relationship is the one where both organisms are going to get benefited. I told you very clearly. Now my question is, everyone think and answer. Do you think the symbiotic relationship is really obligatory? Which means, do you think the symbiotic relationship is required all the time in the bacteria? Sorry, does the symbiotic relationship should be established between the bacteria and plant every time? No, not at all. Always keep it in your mind. Whenever there is a requirement, whenever there is a requirement of nitrogen, then only plant and bacteria start exchanging the signal with each other. Then only the symbiotic relationship will be established. Otherwise, friends, the symbiotic relationship cannot be established at all. Kindly do not forget this particular point. And friends, what are the different type of genes that are involved in the root nodule formation? Friends, this is very important for the exam point of view, the type of genes. There are actually two type of genes are involved. What are those? One we called nodulin gene, another one we called nod gene. The nod gene, we called it as a nod factor. Now the question is here is that nodulin gene is also involved in the nitrogen fixation, I mean to say root nodule formation. nod gene or nod factor also involved in the root nodule formation. Then why do we require two? Any one is sufficient, na? But the point is very clear here. The nodulin gene, they are exclusively present in the bacteria, friends. I'm sorry, nodulin genes are exclusively present in the plant. They are plant genes. And my friends, where this particular nod genes are present, nod genes are exclusively present in the bacteria. Okay, widely nod genes are very widely called it as nod factors. You no need to remember the structure. Do not worry at all. We don't get the question from the structural relationship. Now, nod genes or a nod factor which are present in the bacteria, they are further divided into two types. Further divided into what, friends? Two types. What are those? One we called common nod gene. Second one we called host specified nod gene. My friends, what is the differences between the common nod gene and host specified nod gene? The name itself indicating na common nod gene. It is common in every bacteria. Common. Example, friends, you have to remember the name of the genes which are extremely important for the exam point of view. Nod A, nod B, nod C. And what are host specific nod genes? Nod P, nod Q, nod H, nod F, nod E, nod L. Once again, name itself suggesting na host specific nod genes, they are extremely host specific, not present in every single bacteria like common nod gene. Friends, one more unique and interesting point I want every one of you remember here is that if this particular common nod gene and host specified nod gene wants to activated, we require one more special gene. Friends, we will be calling it as a nod D gene. What do we call it as, friends? We will be calling it as a nod D gene. You know what is the speciality of this nod D gene? I can say one common word about this. Nod D gene is a constitutively expressed gene. Always keep it in your mind. Nod D gene is what, friends? Constitutively expressed gene. Friends, what do you mean by the word constitutively expressed gene? What do you understand by that? One of the most common point you have to remember here is that why I said nod D gene is a constitutively expressed, continuously activated in the bacterial body. Suppose example, you take in our body, we call all our metabolic genes are constitutively expressed gene. Friends, why do we call our metabolic genes are constitutively expressed gene? Because whether we are sleeping, whether we are working, whether we are not working, our metabolism should be active every time. So that's why the metabolic genes should be active all the time. There is a no doubt about it. So my friends, what is the common point you have to understand? If we want to activate the common nod gene and a host specified nod gene, the first and most unique point every one of you has to understand is that first of all we have to activate the nod D gene in the bacteria. When we activate the nod D gene in the bacteria, then automatically the common nod gene and host specified nod genes are going to get activated. Just keep that in your mind. Nod D is a very important constitutive gene. Okay, now let me explain you elaboratively how does this particular symbiotic relationship is occurring. Friends, right now whatever the points that I'm going to cover, I want every one of you understand elaboratively. So first step, see friends, imagine this is the plant root hair. What is this? This is the plant root hair. See, now we have to maintain the relationship between the bacteria and plant. So for that, what the plant is going to do, the root hair of the plant releasing certain chemicals. See, it's releasing certain chemicals into the soil. What do we call that particular chemicals? My friends, we call that particular chemicals as chemoattractants. What do we call, friends? Chemoattractants. And I want every one of you has to remember the example. Tomorrow class I will show you the picture. Flavonoids and betaines. Flavonoids and betaines are the examples of chemoattractants. Once chemoattractants released into the soil, they immediately activate the bacteria. So once again you have to understand, in the bacteria, what kind of genes they will activate first? They will activate the NOD genes. Then followed by, in the bacterial body, common NOD gene, host specified NOD gene, everything will get activated. Immediately what is going to happen? The bacteria will come and attaches to the root hair. See here, bacteria attached here. And you can ask me, sir, how the bacteria can attaches on the root hair? Bacteria attaches on the root hair with the help of a particular receptor. What is the name of the receptor by which bacteria can attaches? We called lectin receptor. So friends, first plant root hair release the chemoattractants like flavonoid and betaines. They will attract the bacteria, then all the genes present in the bacteria will get activated. Bacteria come and attaches to the receptor present on the plant root hair, which we call lectin. To that area bacteria can come and attaches. Immediately what is going to happen, friends? The bacteria start entering inside. The bacteria starts entering inside by curling the root hair. How they are entering inside? By the curling, by causing curling of the root hair. Once they start entering by curling the root hair, immediately what is going to happen? What is going to happen, friends? Immediately the entire bacteria enter inside the root hair. That time we call that particular root hair as infection thread. In the tomorrow class I will show you the clear cut picture once again. Infection thread, actually I forgot to keep it in the PPT. Infection thread. Through this infection thread, bacteria move continuously into the plant root hair, and the bacteria starts rapidly multiply continuously, and they can produce a specialized structures. What do we call that particular specialized structure? We will be calling that particular structures as rhizoids. Sometimes we can call it bacterioids also. My friends, this rhizoids only fix the nitrogen. Let me tell you how. First of all, what happening, friends? How does the symbiotic relationship is happening? First, root hair, whenever plant require the nitrogen, every time it won't release the chemoattractants. Please don't get confused. Whenever plant require the nitrogen, they release the chemoattractants like flavonoids and betaine. All those will go and attract the bacteria. All the genes present in the bacteria will get activated. Now those bacteria will come and attaches to the root hair via receptor called as lectin receptor. Now the bacteria starts entering inside the root hair, which we called infection thread. How it can enter into the root hair? By causing curling of the root hair. Now the bacteria enter inside the root hair and it undergo the rapid multiplication and produces many number of cells, many number of bacteria, which and they can produce structures. What do we call that particular structure? We called rhizoids, or we can also call it as a nodule structure. The nodule structures only we called rhizoid. My friends, this is how a nodule basically looks like. Now what this particular nodule consists of, everyone look into the picture. The nodule basically consists of oxygen binding heme protein. What was that? Of course we will be calling it as a leg hemoglobin. Yes or no? Yes. Now friends, the point I want you people to remember, what is the benefit of this particular leg hemoglobin here? Friends, leg hemoglobin having a greater affinity for what? It is having a greater affinity for the oxygen. It protects the nitrogenase enzyme from the inactivation by the oxygen. That's an important point you have to remember, because my friends, what is our ultimate goal? Our ultimate goal is that we have to make the nitrogenase enzyme to become active. When the nitrogenase enzyme is going to become active, nitrogenase enzyme is going to become active in the absence of oxygen, in the inactivation of oxygen. Now, how does this particular oxygen get inactivated? By the leg hemoglobin. Where does that particular leg hemoglobin is present? In the nodule. How does this particular nodule will form? Because of the symbiotic relationship. That's why the symbiotic relationship occur between the plant and bacteria whenever there is a requirement of the nitrogen. So friends, now finally we have activated the nitrogenase enzyme. Now nitrogenase enzyme is ready for what? For the fixation of nitrogen. Now I want every one of you read, remember and understand, there is a gene which we call it as a NIF gene. My friends, what is the major function of this particular NIF gene? Every one of you keep it in your mind. NIF gene is the gene which is involved in coding of every enzyme which is involved in the nitrogen fixation, especially which is the major enzyme we are going to talk about, that is the nitrogenase enzyme. My friends, this particular nitrogenase enzyme can be fixed by a gene called as NIF gene. We can expect the same thing in the exam. Which of the following gene can code for the nitrogenase enzyme, or which of the following gene can code for all the enzymes involved in the nitrogen fixation? Now my friends, our nitrogenase enzyme is ready now. Now, how does the nitrogenase enzyme is going to fix the nitrogen? We will be continuing in the next class. Okay, so while starting the next class, I will explain you this mechanism once again with a beautiful picture. I mean to say how the plant and root hair maintaining the symbiotic relationship. I will explain it once again with the help of a beautiful picture. So friends, whomever did not watch the photosynthesis part 1 and part 2, I am requesting all of you to watch it. Okay, I'll see you in the next class of the nitrogen metabolism. Thank you all. Thank you very much.